At 6:03, the Caribbean feels almost unreal, wrapped in a soft haze that blurs the horizon. The sea is calm, the wind light out of the northeast. For a Tuesday morning, everything seems ordinary, right up until three contacts appear on the USS George Washington's radar, bearing 217, 12 nautical miles out, and closing quickly. In an instant, the mood inside the Combat Information Center shifts. No one is paying attention to the weather now. The radar picture is sharp and unmistakable. Three vessels, fast, tight formation, holding steady at 28 knots. Their profile matches Venezuela's Garcia-class patrol ships, and at that speed, this is clearly more than routine observation. It is a moving barrier heading straight toward a $13 billion carrier strike group operating lawfully in international waters south of Curaçao. On the flight deck, normal activity gives way to a tense stillness. Then the alarm cuts through the air. Three fast contacts bearing 217, range 12 nautical miles. The message echoes across internal communications. In CIC, operators verify the data twice and log it once. On the screen, three amber triangles continue closing at a constant rate. The geometry leaves little room for doubt. This is not a passing approach, and it is not a parallel course. It is a deliberate attempt to stand in the group's path. USS Gravely, one of the carrier's forward escorts, is the first to respond. Her turbines rise with a sharp mechanical roar that slices through the radio traffic. 10 degrees to starboard, her wake breaking bright white across the formation. The destroyer answers the throttle instantly, like an athlete exploding off the line. The order comes in calm, measured terms, but its meaning is clear. Project readiness, not alarm. The carrier itself stays on course, heading 217 at 20 knots, a quiet but unmistakable display of resolve. On the George Washington's bridge, the captain keeps one hand steady on the console. Maintain formation. Gravely will intercept. He does not need to say it loudly. In moments like this, the quieter the command, the greater the control. Communications come alive in short, precise bursts. The tactical network updates in clipped language. Contacts closing at 28 knots. Recommend intercept posture. Maintain course. Command replies just as simply. Affirmative. No guesswork. No dramatic language. Only facts. On deck, the first Seahawk, callsign Razor 21, is brought online. The crew moves with practiced precision, almost like choreography. Tie-downs come off. Rotor blades swing into place. Safety pins are removed. Hydraulics release with a sharp hiss as the MH-60R shudders to life. Over the intercom, the launch officer's voice comes through clean against the growing wind. They're trying to block us. It is not an opinion. It is what the angles are showing. At 0644, optical cameras confirm the identification. Red, blue, and yellow flags snap in the Caribbean breeze. Venezuelan vessels. No uncertainty now. One ship moves directly onto the carrier's projected path, while the other two widen their spacing, forming a classic barrier pattern. Aboard Gravely, Surface Watch tracks the bearing drift, holding steady at 217, speed unchanged. That combination points to clear intent. The destroyer's 5-inch Mark 45 gun turret begins to turn. Slow, deliberate, 10 degrees to starboard. No targeting lock, no designation beam, just enough to be seen. Naval body language at its most precise. It communicates everything words on a broadcast do not have to say. Inside Gravely's CIC, the tension is real, but disciplined. The Surface Watch officer reports the contacts now inside 10 nautical miles. The captain leaches forward, voice even and controlled. Visible posture only, let them see us. It is deterrence the way the Navy understands it best, not through panic, but through presence. Above, the Seahawk's rotors hammer the heavy Caribbean air, blades flexing at full RPM. Launch prep drops to T-minus 90 seconds. On the flight deck, a sailor shouts, "Clear left!" barely audible over the turbine scream. The helicopter rises, nose angling south toward the threat axis. Cameras, sensors, and calm professionalism lifted into the sky as one compact response. Below deck, sailors secure themselves at their stations. The CIWS mounts begin their diagnostic cycle, that low mechanical hum of a system shifting into readiness. The electronic warfare suite logs every spike across the spectrum coming off the Venezuelan patrol ships. Nothing openly hostile yet, but close enough to make every sweep of the radar feel heavier than the last. At 0605, Gravely breaks from formation, her hull cutting through the sea like a gray spear. The carrier does not move off its line. It stays steady, silent, and deliberate, sending the clearest message possible in steel. Across the open channel, one final warning goes out. Unidentified Venezuelan naval vessels. This is a United States warship operating in international waters. Alter course immediately. The only response is the sound of turbines continuing to close the distance. The sea remains deceptively calm. The sky still carries the look of an ordinary morning. But aboard both American ships, every sailor knows the next few minutes will decide whether this becomes another routine transit or the kind of event that ends up in an incident report. By 0606, Gravely is carving through the Caribbean with the steady rhythm of pure intent. Direct, controlled, impossible to miss. On the tactical display, the destroyer now leads the formation by 2,000 yards ahead of George Washington. The 3 Venezuelan patrol ships remain spread in a shallow V, speed unchanged, formation intact. Their wakes streak white across the water, drawing a blockade line as clear as if it had been sketched there. No evasive movement, no radio acknowledgement, just momentum. In CIC, the Surface Watch officer calls it out over the static. Range 9.8 nautical miles, bearing steady, no course deviation. The same numbers appear across multiple consoles. Data like that does not need dramatic language. The captain studies the chart and gives the order without raising his voice. Maintain intercept course. Calm as procedure, cold as mathematics. By 0607, Gravely's turbines are pushing at 90% power. The ship vibrates under the load, every turn of the screws translated into a low growl that can be felt through the deck. Above, the 5-inch gun turret settles 15 degrees to starboard. No radar illumination, no targeting cue, just posture. Even from miles away, the movement is visible through binoculars, a reminder in steel that presence can speak louder than aggression. Inside the carrier's CIC, air operations shift from green to amber. Razor 21, the MH-60R Seahawk, is now airborne at 500 feet and making 140 knots toward the intercept zone. Its FLIR turret angles downward, scanning the water below in ghostly grayscale. Within seconds, 3 heat signatures sharpen into view. Venezuelan Garcia-class patrol ships, each around 1,300 tons, their diesel exhaust glowing hot against the cool morning sea. Razor 21 to Gravely, eyes on formation. Visual confirmation, 3 Garcia-class. Formation steady, heading north-northeast. Estimate speed 28 knots. Copy. Maintain eyes, no overflight. The Seahawk stays wide, keeping the sun behind it, a small but useful psychological edge. From 500 feet, the Venezuelan ships seem almost small but not uncertain. They move with the deliberate precision of chess pieces sliding into position. At 0608, CIC updates again. Lead vessel range 8.6 nautical miles. Gravely shifts heading by 3 degrees, just enough to tighten the intercept angle. The Venezuelan ships do not react. Every new bearing confirms the same thing. Constant closure. On the screen, the geometry looks almost unreal, slow and inevitable, like a collision unfolding in measured increments. Aboard George Washington, radar teams track both formations while the carrier commander keeps his voice as level as the horizon. Hold course. No heading change. To alter now would mean too much. In naval signaling, even a small deviation can read as concession. At 0609, the warning goes out again over the open channel. Unidentified Venezuelan naval vessels, you are approaching a restricted formation. Alter course immediately. Only static answers at first. Then, at last, a voice comes through in clipped, accented English. You are entering our security zone. Reduce speed and change heading now. Silence follows. Inside CIC, no one even shifts in their seat. The Surface Watch officer records every word exactly as spoken. The air feels heavy, as if the entire ship is breathing in and refusing to let it out. At 0610, Razor 21 tightens its orbit and drops to 400 feet. On the FLIR feed, a sharp outline appears on the lead Venezuelan vessel's deck. Twin canisters uncovered, likely missile pods. Razor 21 to Gravely. Visual on weapons mounts, no radar locks detected. The destroyer's captain answers in the same steady tone as before. Copy. Maintain orbit. Below deck, sailors at the CIWS stations feel the system come alive beneath their hands. 6 rotating barrels sit ready, not yet tracking, not yet aimed. The mount is awake, listening, waiting. Total vigilance, no unnecessary escalation. The Venezuelan patrol ships shift 2 degrees to port, narrowing their line. Inside Gravely's CIC, that tiny course correction changes the mood instantly. It is the kind of movement that makes experienced operators sit straighter without being told. The ship's electronic warfare suite picks up light radar pings from the lead vessel. Not targeting radar, only surface search. But the timing makes the intent obvious, deliberate, not casual. A signal meant to be noticed. By 0611, the distance has fallen to less than 5 nautical miles. The tactical display flashes yellow as the intercept geometry reaches a critical point. Over the comms, the Surface Action Commander speaks in a tone so calm it is almost unsettling. Weapons visible only. Do not paint targets. Everyone in the room understands what that means. At this moment, posture is the message. Above them, Razor 21's pilot murmurs into the radio. They're holding the wall. The Seahawk's infrared camera renders the scene in stark monochrome. 3 Venezuelan hulls, hot exhaust, hard lines of steel cutting through the sea. A barrier made of heat, metal, and intent. Back aboard Gravely, the captain gives another quiet order. Keep our bow pointed through them. His voice never rises. It does not have to. The destroyer adjusts by 2 degrees, slicing forward on a line aimed directly through the center of the Venezuelan formation. By 0612, both sides are fully committed. 2,000 tons of American steel, driving toward a blockade drawn in diesel wake and national pride. On radar, it appears almost abstract, just geometry and numbers. On deck, it feels far more physical, like gravity itself pulling everything toward a single moment. The sea narrows into pure calculation. 4 nautical miles. Closing. Every console is recording. Every radar return is logged. Every camera is running. There is no room left for drama now, only disciplined professionalism. The next minute will decide whether this ends as a diplomatic exchange or becomes the kind of encounter studied long after the fact. At 0613, the distance tightens to a razor-thin margin. Gravely holds course, engines at 85%, throwing a clean wake straight toward the Venezuelan line. Range, 4.1 nautical miles and closing. On radar, it resembles a single collision path. On deck, it feels as though time itself has slowed. The carrier's tactical display frames it with stark clarity. 3 red markers converging on 1 blue spear point. Then the bridge loudspeaker comes alive. Bridge to all stations. Stand by for radio call. The voice is flat, procedural, almost emotionless. Everyone knows what comes next. Venezuelan naval vessels. This is a United States warship operating in international waters. You are approaching a restricted formation. Alter course immediately. A few seconds of static pass. Then the reply returns, calm, clipped, and edged with pride. You are in our security zone. Reduce speed and change heading. Now. CIC falls silent again. The only sound is the sweep of the radar, turning over and over like a slow mechanical heartbeat. The surface watch officer breaks the silence. Contacts holding steady, range 3.8 nautical miles, speed constant, 27 knots. The captain does not hesitate. Maintain course, maintain speed, visible posture only. It sounds less like a command than a declaration of intent. Above, Razor 21 continues its orbit, FLIR turret fixed on the lead Venezuelan ship. The infrared image catches another bright flare of heat. Uncovered missile pods on deck. Razor 21 to Gravely. Visual confirmation on weapons pods. No radar lock detected. Copy. Maintain altitude. Observe until further notice. On Gravely, the Phalanx turret follows the lead contact, its barrels angled toward the horizon, still inactive, still cold. Ready, but restrained. It is a silent exchange between machines, each one reading consequences more clearly than the people behind them. By 0615, the distance between both forces has narrowed to 3.4 nautical miles. The geometry is no longer abstract. Through binoculars, Venezuelan sailors can be seen on deck, helmets on, watching closely. One of their ships shifts half a degree to starboard, just enough to show resistance without forcing contact. Inside Gravely's CIC, the electronic warfare console brightens. EW reports directed surface search radar sweep, not fire control. Copy, the captain answers evenly. Log every pulse. Outside, the sun rises over the eastern horizon. Light flashes across the destroyer's 5-inch gun, the barrel catching the glare in a way that feels almost deliberate. The message needs no translation. We see you. We are prepared. At 0616, another voice cuts across the open channel, this time in faster, sharper Spanish. Bolivarian security zone. Change course immediately. The American response comes back without delay. Negative. Operating lawfully in international waters under UNCLOS. Maintain safe separation. The phrasing is clinical, almost cold, but behind it stands the full weight of maritime law. For a few moments, the sea feels less like open water and more like a courtroom, with the horizon itself serving as witness. Then, at 0617, the radar picture changes for the first time. The lead Venezuelan vessel drops from 28 knots to 20. The formation remains intact, but the edge begins to fade from its movement. The closure stops. Distance stabilizes. The surface watch officer reports it with measured precision. Contacts reducing speed. Range holding at 3.6 nautical miles. The captain does not react outwardly. Copy. Maintain course. Continue recording. Above, the Seahawk makes one final low orbit, its FLIR camera, painting pale trails across the water. As engine output drops, the Venezuelan ships lose some of their sharp infrared glow. Razor 21 to Gravely. Visual on course change, they're pulling away. Roger. Maintain observation until full separation. By 0623, radar confirms the shift. All 3 Venezuelan patrol craft are now turning east-southeast, range opening beyond 6 nautical miles. The blockade dissolves into parallel tracks. Only then does the air inside CIC seem to loosen. No cheers, no applause. The ocean simply takes the tension back and returns its silence. On the carrier's bridge, the strike group commander watches the updated plot as the red icons slide east. "Hold heading 217, he says. "We don't reward bluffs." The words pass through the comm-net, and on deck, the crew returns to work as if it were any other morning. By 0630, flight operations are back to normal. Catapults remain ready, but inactive. The Seahawk settles onto the deck, its rotors slowing beneath the morning sun. The blades fold inward with the neat precision of a file being closed. Below deck, technicians tag every frame of FLIR footage, every bearing, every radio exchange. This is more than paperwork. In moments like this, documentation becomes its own form of deterrence. By 0640, the Venezuelan ships are no longer visible. Their radar returns fade into background clutter. The carrier group reforms into standard formation, heading unchanged, speed steady at 20 knots. At 0645, the encounter is entered into the official log. 3 Venezuelan naval vessels intercepted U.S. strike group. No shots fired. Separation achieved at 6 nautical miles. No damage. No course deviation. By then, the sea looks calm again, as though nothing happened at all. But everyone who stood watch that morning knows better. For those tense minutes, physics and patience occupied the same patch of ocean. In the post-action record, the closing line is simple. Incident concluded without escalation, demonstrated deterrence through presence. And as the Caribbean sun rises higher, its reflection flashes across the carrier's hull. A quiet reminder that in modern naval standoffs, restraint can be the strongest signal of all.